Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Full Force News Burst. Let's talk classified road pig. Nearly forgot then. It's been a day. I'm Christopher McLeod, aka Diagnostic 80, and it's brought to you by General Joe's Reborn.com. How is everyone doing this evening, this Friday evening? It's been a day. It's been a day. And you may be wondering, we haven't seen you for a couple of days, like since the GI Joe thing, the GI Joe stream. Yes, it's just been crazy busy. I had loads to do. I actually finished the graphics for this particular episode very late last night. So I haven't had much sleep either at all. Like I didn't have much sleep at all last. I don't know why I got so close there, moving the chair a little bit. Anyway, so tonight we are talking Let's Talk Classified Road Pig, which I'm actually quite happy about because I was convinced, and I do this every single time when I do a Let's Talk Classified video, while I'm in the process of putting the graphics together. Because even though Brian Sauer, while wonderful kind of full force graphics guru, he's the one that puts these amazing frames together. Like the one I'm utilizing right now with my name on it right there. And the split screen situation and all that kind of that stuff, that's all Brian. But when it comes to everything else, that's on me. So when we do these episodes, for some reason I've got it in my head that I have to do like these elaborate like slides, breaking it all down, making sure it's like I'm back at like teaching again, where I used to put like lessons together and then we have to do presentations for the students. My good, like I'm teaching again, guys. I promised myself I wouldn't go back. Anyway, yeah, so lots of graphics on this one. This morning I had to go to the dentist I'll go through the details of this because you probably just go, yeah, well, you're British, you've got bad teeth. But no, I've actually got good teeth. Problem is, I grind my teeth, and I have done for many years. And it's kind of been happening for probably the last couple of years. It's been happening a little bit more regularly, and it's cracked two of my teeth. Two like one like over here and one over here, and so they had to get fillings for them because I was grinding so much. And that was this morning, and I had a wisdom tooth out a while back, probably about 6 months ago, maybe more, and the wisdom tooth had started growing weird, right? So I think I think this was when I got punched in the face when I was younger. You can see that my nose is a little broken as well. I'm not sure if you've ever noticed that. You might have done, but like it's a bit wonky. And basically, the wisdom tooth was growing like that sideways, or like an angle into this other tooth at the back. And so it wasn't painful, but they said we need to sort this out, otherwise it's going to get bad. And I'm like, okay, cool. So they yanked that bad boy out. That was an interesting situation, and it left like if you in the other tooth, because it'd been growing like that for so long, it basically was a cavity on the tooth and it was around the back. So it's like really hard for them to get to. Anyway, 3 fillings this morning. So smash that out, no worries. Smash the job out all day long and then got back to, to do this. So I've literally wolfed down food. I've watched YouTube videos with Kate for a little bit while we've been eating. And now I'm down here in the HQ to do anyway. I don't know why I'm going into this much detail. This is about Road Pig, not about this Road Pig. So anyway, let's get into that because that's what you're here for. Right, let's do it. Let's talk classified Road Pig. Welcome to the too much information train. Right then, so speaking of too much information, let's get stuck in to Road Pig. Now, Road Pig's an interesting one. Now, in terms of the name only reveals, we do have a little bit of information about Road Pig, don't we? And before we touch on Road Pig, Kitty said, these are what we have for name only reveals currently. This is the new updated kind of list. We have, obviously, we removed Dial Tone from this list now, and Alpine. They've been revealed. We removed Saw Viper and Iron Grenadiers. So they've all been removed from this list now, but we have added Footloose. So Footloose will be the next one on my agenda. I'm hoping he's not like, I don't think we know he's 2025, isn't he? We know when he's coming out because we've told you because of the listings. So in any case, that aside, I think I've got some time with Footloose before we start seeing anything of him. But I just got really happy because they didn't reveal anything for Road Pig. And I was convinced. I was genuinely convinced. Genuinely convinced. It's the drugs. I didn't really. No, I had numbing things in my mouth, but not actual drugs. Um, so I was just really excited that I could get to do this episode because again, I'd put loads of effort into the graphics already at that point, and I was like, I hadn't made it in time. I hadn't managed to get the graphics done and the episode like even as a live. I didn't get it done in time, so I was like, oh no, they're going to reveal it. There's going to be a render, yada yada yada. They didn't though, so that's made me really happy. I can get ahead of this. I can get ahead of Footloose. Stop saying that. And then, of course, we've got SDCC around the corner. And we've got loads still this month, pre-order drops, what have you. So I'm sure there's going to be a bit more popping in and out. I was happy you didn't get a reveal pass. Indeed. Again, I did say that on the. Hang on, it's not the filling. Don't worry. It's a bit of food. Yeah, I was just generally happy because I didn't quite want them to reveal that just yet, so I could get this episode out. And when I just assumed it was happening, and it didn't happen, I was like, "Sweet, I can get in on this now." What are you saying in the comments quickly? I feel like Road Pig would be missing some teeth. Fitting, absolutely. Oh, it was all good. You don't worry about. There's no need for any sympathy. I wasn't asking for that. It was actually really smooth. Like I haven't really had bad experiences with the dentist yet. Even even when they took the wisdom tooth out, that was. I mean, it was gnarly because they were like foot on the thing, like really yanking it to get it out. But it was I was numbed. And the injections didn't hurt at all. I thought they were like, this is going to hurt. And they put the injection in. I'm like, that was fine. It was good. Didn't even flinch. I was probably just all dead back there. That's probably why. Anyway, yes, I had Mindbender. Dr. Mindbender was performing it today. And no, Dr. Brown. She was amazing. And it was very smooth, very simple, very done and dusted and covered in mustard. And I was back to work before 10. That's how it rolls. When I was in Germany, I pulled one of my own wisdom teeth. Lawrence, that is insane. Did I hear a crunch when they yanked the yes, Grizzlehorn? I heard multiple crunches when they pulled my tooth out. It was insane. This was months ago. This was a long time ago. They were really yanking at it, Kitty said, Niximus Prime. Anyway, enough of that. It's Road Pig. This is going to happen now, isn't it? People are going to be tuning into this after the fact who don't care for my lifestyle or what's going on. And they're going to be like, I thought this was about Road Pig. Anyway, let's switch focus. So let's start with Road Pig's design. And the character was designed by Mark Pennington and was given the likeness of Mark's senior design director, Don DeLuca. And there you can see images of Don there, and you can see it's Road Pig. There's Don actually that is a proper throwback image at the bottom there. I can't remember who else is in that image now. It's online and it does say it's captioned, but my brain has just fallen into a pit anyway. Chris, do you think Fred Deluxe could be Iron Grenadier Destro? Then maybe the Has Lab Blab could possibly be Destro Demon with the spoiler as one of the tiers. Mr. Roper, you might be getting carried away there, but there's maybe possibly we don't know who Fred Deluxe is. And it's very possible that could be the case, but we just don't know. But I will say, do I think it could be? Yes, I do think it could be. Do I think it will be? I don't know, actually. I haven't really given it enough thought. I mean, I have given it thought. It's just I've never given it enough thought that would it be Destro. But I mean, the fact that we've got Iron Grenadiers, Iron Grenadier Bats, Metalhead, it's possible. Yeah, so there's Don DeLuca and some images of him, and you can see it is so Road Pig, isn't it? The one thing I really like about Road Pig is how she his face is. He looks so cute and like a little got a little baby face, hasn't he? A little chutchy baby face. And then you look at the actual like the card art and stuff, and it's just like it ain't cute. But the figure is. Anyway, some early names included Kallikak and Theophilus the Ninth. Yeah, that's I believe. Yeah, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I'm just trying to get in the head my head my Roman numerals. Presentation art. Sorry, before we do that, these are where I got the early names from Dan Klingensmith's books, which were actually put on blast on the event, the GI Joe live stream the other day. So congratulations to Dan. I mean, those books have been officially Hasbro um, licensed products now for like 5 volumes, 6 volumes. I mean, they all are now, but like didn't get announced until around that time. So shout out to Dan. And yes, I've stolen more information from your books, Dan, as I always do. Um, so those are the early names, and you can see them at the top there, like Kallikak and Theophilus. Now, I wasn't sure if it was Kallikak and Theophilus the Ninth, or if it was Kallikak Theophilus the Ninth, like a full name, because there's a comma between the Kallikak and Theophilus. So I don't know. I love it though, and I think it's amazing. The presentation art that you can see is by Bart Sears, who did a lot of Cops card art. He did a lot of Cops presentation art as well. And of course, he's done G.I. Joe too. So shout out to Bart Sears, who does amazing work. And how good is that with the crossbow on show and the kind of mean mug and everything? It's really awesome. Anywho, multiple personalities says pass. Yes, indeed. Card art, though, was by Earl Norham, one of my faves in the G.I. Joe art world. And there it is. This is one of my favorite pieces of card art. And this is the Earl Norham era of G.I. Joe cards, because we had Road Pig, we had, I want to say, Hydro Viper around that time, Storm Shadow version 2. There's a bunch. And this Road Pig is gorgeous as a piece of art. Obviously, as ugly as sin, but as a piece of art, this is absolutely phenomenal. And I just love the fact that you don't have much space to work with on a GI Joe card, and considering Road Pig isn't doing much other than standing there, it really is like the angle at which he's like the shot, almost like looking from down looking up, sort of like giving him this very like imposing, kind of powerful kind of stance. The cinder block, just holding it like it's nothing on that stick, showing off the crossbow for intimidation. Just like it's just great, and I love it. I love the detail, like even down to like that beautiful chrome effect on his boot, kind of shins on the shin guards on around his boots. Just really cool. And again, not much space to work with, but he filled it all absolutely, Scott. X Factor 17 says that's wild. Imagine when we were kids, how much less cool those figures would have seemed if we knew who they were modeled after. Kind of, yeah. The Joe franchise does love their arrows. They do, don't they? Derek says, I absolutely loved this figure as a kid. I used my Joes as a wrestling league as well. Road Pig was always unbeatable. Yeah, he's like the Undertaker of the blimmin' G.I. Joe wrestling situation. No, absolutely. So the first Road Pigger figure was released in the US in 1988. It was a brand new member for the Dreadnoks. Came with the crossbow and shield that both attached to his wrists, separately, of course. A customized set of NFL shoulder pads and a cinder block on a stick. Featured a larger buck as well for the body. This was it was a different, you can tell the difference as well between this Road Pig and then other figures in the line around the time. There's a real difference in the kind of buck they were using, but it's brilliant. It's cool. I love the hairstyle, the kind of crew cut, but in white with the red stripe around it. The Anarchy tattoo, which weirdly we've seen on Norgahide now. So I'm kind of hoping we get the Anarchy tattoo on Road Pig, and they just use it as like a, like in the same way that we're getting Night Force patches on multiple figures. I just hope we get that. They're just trying to utilize that tempo more often, maybe. Do you know what I mean? Like it's probably something as simple as that, honestly. Like they didn't want to do another tattoo. I don't know. I feel like he needed Norgard needed the GI Joe with the cross through it, but I don't know. I love the it has a chubby face. I hope the classified one does as well, says Rob. I am genuinely interested to see where they go with the head sculpt. Because as we go through the kind of figures and all that kind of stuff, there's not many versions to go through, but we'll see, like, especially with the modern figures, like almost like a bit of a change up in style, like a thinner face almost. But yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. Um, yeah. Anyway, so that is the obviously Road Pig version one. There he is with all of his gear, courtesy of 3D Joes and Carson. Thank you, Carson. And here he is with, like, yeah, his shoulder pads on, the wrist shield, which I always thought was a washboard. It's got a washboard with like spikes on the end of it, and it goes on his wrist, so he can wash his t-shirts and wash his pants in a bucket outside the Dreadnok compound. And obviously he has crossbow on his wrist, the cinder block. Awesome figure. And there's another shot of him, action shot, sort of. But yeah, it's a really interesting design. It's really weird, very Mad Max inspired. Absolutely, most of the Noks were, that was their inspiration, wasn't it? That kind of Mad Max vibe. We'll get to that a little bit later, actually, because there's something that pops up in the UK comics that really pushes that, to the limit. Push it to the limit. Cheers, water tonight. Now, here is his file card, and we'll go through this because the UK one differs immensely to the US one, and it's quite funny, the differences in there. So, codename Road Pig Dreadnok, file name Donald DeLuca. They just went ahead and gave Don's name as well to this guy, which is brilliant. He was born in Go Blue, Michigan. Go Blue? I don't know. It doesn't matter, does it? Arrest record. This is where it differs on the UK one, because I think Grand Theft Auto isn't a thing, or wasn't a thing back then in the UK. It probably still isn't, but it's just called something different, like car theft or something. But speeding, reckless endangerment, littering, and you'll only get that if you like the movie Super Troopers. I want a Super Trooper now. Why did I have to say that? Why couldn't I just let you guys guess what the reference was from, rather than now putting Super Trooper in my head and going on another tangent about Chrome? Assault, Grand Theft Auto, usury, felony spitting, petty bribery, passing stopped school buses at high speeds. Now, that's something that people will do in the UK because they don't have that stop sign that comes out. No, they're just standard coaches that we would get. We didn't have specialized school coaches. It was all just your standard coach that they hired out to take kids to, school. And in fact, what was interesting, not having that extra protection for kids getting off back, because I agree with you guys. I think we do need to have the stop signs come out, and people do need to stop when school buses are letting the kids out. So I totally agree with that. When I was a kid and we were coming back from school once, we were all on the back. We used to sit in the back seat. Anyway, our stop was next, but we'd stopped to drop off a few other kids first. And one of my friends, Aaron Coulson, gets off the bus, kind of, walks around the back of the bus to cross the road, but doesn't check and just runs straight into the street. We're all like on the bus messing around, but like looking out and seeing this happen live. And a car coming the other way, it's like screeches to a halt, hits him. He goes flying. It's not like he didn't go like, it wasn't like 20 feet. It wasn't that bad, but he got hit though hard. And he kind of went, a fairly decent distance. He didn't get lifted off the ground, but he just got knocked to the ground, right? And we're all like, oh my God, like thinking, what the hell? Is he okay? Kind of thing. The guy gets out his car and he's like, I'm so sorry. And Aaron gets up, dusts himself off and said, it's okay, sorry. And then just carried on running to his house. Dude had just been run over by a car. This guy is now like, what do I do right now? Like, the kids run away to his house because he's obviously like absolute, like, he was fine at the end of the day. He didn't like He didn't seriously injure himself. I don't even think he needed to go to the hospital. He was fine. Didn't even have any cuts on him. He just got bumped. But the thing is, it was just so like, wow. And Aaron, he's only he's this little, like, scrawny little kid, like we all were pretty much. And yeah, just got launched by a car and then gets up and just goes. And the guy gets out and he's like deadly, like panicking. He's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And he just went, "Yeah, sorry." And then just, just ran home. Anyway, side note, but let's carry on with the file card. When Road Pig was born, the doctor held him up and said, "This is the ugliest looking baby I've ever seen. He was expelled from kindergarten for milk money extortion and dishonorably discharged from the Cub Scouts." I love these. I love these kind of like applying like adult sort of crimes to to really like innocent kids like things. Do you know what I mean? I think it's quite funny. It's like extortion, milk money extortion in kindergarten. Genius. Dishonorably discharged from the Cub Scouts. Amazing. I mean, like, what? It wouldn't be dishonorably discharged. It would just be like, get out. You're not coming back. Like, you'd be there for one day and be like, "You're not coming back. Stay home. You're banned." Um, After being kicked out of a low-life outlaw gang for smelling worse than was acceptable by even their standards, he joined the Dreadnoks as a probationary member. They're having a hard time making up their minds about this one. I love that. What's really funny is, again, like, this is at the time when you're reading this, you're like, "Oh, he's not a fully fledged member of the Dreadnoks yet. He's still got to like earn his, he's got to earn his stripes," sort of thing. So it's, again, these little touches in the file card at the time make it magical for kids playing with these toys and read and, like, poring over this stuff. And I remember getting this figure in the UK, and oh God, I loved him. I thought it was great. Anyway, Ugly. They banned him from football games because he stopped the clock. His mother had to tie a pork chop around his neck so the dog would play with him. He went to visit the Empire State Building and he got strafed. I'll tell you, beauty may be skin deep, but ugly goes clean to the bone. I've heard that similar quote before. Beauty may be skin deep, but something cuts to the bone. Was it Scarlet, Ninja Force Scarlet I'm thinking of? I think it is. I think Ninja Force Scarlet has a quote very similar to that, but it's the beauty may be the beauty is skin deep, but something cuts to the bone. And in her case, it's is the beauty aspect, and in Road Pigs, it's the ugly. Amazing. So that's the file card. And the reason I've gone into so much detail there is because we have a UK one to go over, and it's fun that they're very, very different. Right now, Road Pig like featured quite heavily in the Marvel A Real American Hero comic from his first appearance in issue 83. And we see the split personality of Donald and Road Pig really explored by Larry in the comics. Which you'll all be able to read again very easily when the compendiums come fund like $2 million. Can you believe that? I mean, I said it. I said early on, because it's not like it's not a massive leap to be like, this is probably going to do 2 million when it's already at 1.5 million. It's hardly like, ooh, Nostradamus, so Nostradamus over here. Diagnostradamus 80, yeah. No, not really, but like the fact that uh, 2 million, that's bonkers for the Kickstarter. Anyway, we'll be able to read these stories again very soon. Well, you probably be able to read them right now because you probably have loads of different versions of the Real American Hero comics, including probably the originals, like I do. I had an idea that the Road Pig was an enforcer for a mafia type gang, says Carl. Yeah, he's kind of got that vibe. Did he get a nickname after getting sent flying? What you mean, Aaron, my little buddy, my mate? Did he get a nickname after getting sent? No, no, we weren't that cruel. Honestly, we were just happy he got up and ran off again, and we were all really concerned. and then he got up and he ran. And like, yeah, we didn't really know as kids at that point. We thought that means, oh, he's fine, because you don't know as a kids. You maybe not be aware of the whole adrenaline thing that that, like, I've known people that have been in car accidents get out of the car, run up like the hill to, like, get away from the kind of traffic and everything, and get off the road, and they sit down and then they realize they've broken both of their legs, but the adrenaline got them up the hill, sort of thing. So, like, we didn't really, so we were all happy. We were like, oh, he's fine, he ran home, he's perfectly, he's all right, because we're children and we don't understand these things. But in later life, now, if I'd have seen that as an adult, I'd have been like, you need to go and get him. We need to go and check that his fingers are all in the right place, or his head is the right way round. um Air on, that works, doesn't it, Scott? Yeah, definitely. Like, how's the air up there, sort of thing. Um, a nickname is a reward for something. Like, you're true, actually, pass. Yeah, we could have called him Iron Man. Amazing. Right. Yeah, so Road Pig, he was definitely he was definitely developed character-wise in the Real American Hero storyline by Larry. And we kind of see his sort of, like, romance, for it's unrequited love for Zorana, and how he, and his multiple personality sort of situation, where he changes between, sort of like a me, myself, and Irene vibe, isn't it? He kind of, which they copied, obviously, um, switching between this, Donald and Road Pig personas. Donald being the more kind of, you know, uh, intelligent one, basically, and Road Pig being the kind of like dumb, kind of animal berserker sort of style. But yeah, anyway, that is Road Pig in A Real American Hero. Now, in terms of animated kind of fashion, we don't get version 1 Road Pig in the Sunbow cartoon. But we do get some animated Road Pig in commercials. And there might be more, but the main one I think I found was the motorized battle pack, the motorized Dreadnok battle axe battle pack that he dons. And we see him both in this standard style animation over here, a couple of times actually, in this commercial. And you see the figure utilizing the backpack, which I haven't. Well, I've told you all the story about my motorized battle axe, Dreadnok battle axe story, when I had Ripper or that, and I chose that rather than Ripper, and I never saw Ripper again, which I have regretted my entire life. Don't worry about it. Um, but yes, there you go. So you also get, as well as this standard style animation in that commercial, you get the rotoscope style as well. And these are very, I mean, you're taking screenshots from effectively like VHS recordings of these commercials. So they're not the highest of quality, but you can see there that they have, really, I would say, taken liberties. This one is definitely more of the figure style, and this one is definitely more sort of if he were in the animated series, but a little bit leaner and a little bit taller and all that kind of stuff. Um, but there you go. So that's Road Pig in version 1 in animated. But let's switch over. We'll come back to we'll come back to animated shortly, but we're doing this in a timeline, kind of like a historic timeline. And next in that timeline is 1989 and Road Pig in the UK. And as you can see here, slightly different card back. You've still got the same card art, which is glorious. So I'm glad we got that still. But you do have and obviously you've got the Action Force logo, but you do have a different Dreadnoks logo, which I really like. And I actually prefer this to the US one, because the US one was chronological. Thank you, Scott. But this one was the US one is that kind of like, it's like just the yellow sort of like American football shape. Oval is the word I'm looking for, with the little kind of, the kind of the points at the end, with the Dreadnoks, the enemy sort of thing in there. So it's not like anything crazy special, but I like the fact that the UK ones, they went like, yeah, let's do something really, Dreadnocky and like a bit damaged and and messed up and broken and all that kind of stuff. And I like it. I dig it. I think it's really cool. Road Pig in the UK sounds like a punk band I'd listen to. It does, doesn't it, Chris? Actually. Um, Pa says, I'd love a fully remastered animation Blu-ray that includes all animated commercials too. Yeah, so would I. There have been people have gone to great lengths to kind of, you know, corral as many of the commercials as possible. Shout out to Carson at 3D Joe's who's done that. I remember there was when the commercials in one of the, I want to say it was the Foot Locker, didn't that have commercials on it in like a memory stick sort of thing? I can't remember now. That has got at some point there was a commercials on a memory stick sort of official release. It might not have been official. I don't know. I'm getting confused. But anyway, yes, this card very different to the one we got, but same figure, same accessories, and but they did give him a different file card, which is amazing. Now, first off, check that name out, Terence Scunge. Just let that one sink in for a bit. Terence Scunge. Were any of you aware of this? Please and thank you. It would be nice to know in the comments. I was, because I had him. But like, did you guys know that the UK name for Road Pig, as in his real name, his file name, was Terence Scunge? Because that is the best name I've ever heard in my entire life. Now, his birthplace was changed to Canvey Island. And his arrest record changed a little bit, as you can see. Speeding, reckless driving, assault, car theft, extortion, felony spitting, and petty bribery. Mind blown, says Jeremy. Felony spitting, says Stanley. Yeah, he must have spat on like a cop's face or something. Road Pig, Cold Slither, and Joe Average Band, the Average Joe Band, yes. And the Action Force Band you got to throw in there because they did it. That was their name in there in the UK VHS as well. Oh man, FC Viper. I don't even want to read that. That sounds horrible and sad. Figures he has a terrible name like Torch, Buzzer, and Ripper are all winking, blinking, and nod, as well as Tom, Dick, and Harry all at once. Yeah, absolutely, Kick. Honestly, I'd be game if the Energon universe made Road Pig from the UK. Canvey Island is perfect. It was a right S-hole back then. Probably still is, says Celestial Toymaker. I don't think I've ever been there. But I'm aware of its poor reputation. I think it was it used in the TV series that James Corden was originally in, Gavin and Stacey. I want to say Canvey Island was in that. But anyway, I could be wrong. So let's read this out a little bit. So when Road Pig was born, the doctor held him up and said, "This is the ugliest looking baby I've ever seen." I think that was similar, or probably the same. He was expelled from they put kindergarten, which is interesting. He was expelled from kindergarten for milk money extortion and dishonorably discharged from the Cub Scouts, because we had those things as well. After being kicked out of a low-life outlaw gang for smelling worse than was acceptable by even their standards, he joined the Dreadnoks as a probationary member, having a hard time making up their minds about this one. So that's the same, basically. Ugly, they banned him from football games because he stopped the clock. Now you can get away with that because it says football, so it's not like saying NFL or American football. Obviously, it wouldn't. So we can get away with that. His mother had to tie a pork chop around his neck so the dog would play with him. He went to visit the Tower of London and got locked up. So the Tower of London and locked up instead of the Empire State Building and strafed. I'll tell you, beauty may be skin deep, but ugly goes clean to the bone. So I just find those really fun, those little kind of change ups. Like nobody would understand or know what the Empire State Building was. I'm sorry, but I don't care what age you are or where you are in the world. Even in the 80s, everybody knew the Empire State Building. Obviously, it makes sense when you're talking about a character in the UK and the places they're going to be going, and you know the things and they're called Terence Scunge, for goodness sake. So yeah, so I get it, but it's always funny what they change and what they don't. But nothing there about going around buses. So school buses. Um, um, there was an NFL Europe at the time Road Pig came out. Hang on, was it NFL Europe then? Are you sure? I feel like that was in the early 2000s. When did NFL Europe start then? I know that we had the Monarchs, didn't we? But I didn't know they were NFL. We had the London Monarchs and a couple of other ones, didn't we? Did they did NFL? Oh, no, I just want to double check this because this is actually baffling. Um, launch date. Launch date? I don't know what you call it. When did it start? Oh yeah, it was 89. Founded in 89. The World of American Football, or WLAF. WLAF. Amazing. The league was envisioned as a transatlantic league encompassing teams from both North America and Europe. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember that there was a Scottish team in there. I remember. I remember the London Monarchs being like a big deal for the longest time. Frankfurt Galaxy, there's one. Oh, man, history. Yeah, got him. Sorry, I've gone on a complete tangent there. But anyway, thank you for that. Yeah, 89. So you're right. It would have been, you'd got away. Well, again, football games, you're still thinking soccer in the UK, though, definitely. Uh, Claymores, yes, the Scottish team, Chris. Absolutely. Barcelona Dragons. Fridge, question mark. Cool. Right. Anyway, yeah, that's really cool. That's awesome. Anyway, next, still in the UK, and he was utilized in the Action Force monthly comic series. First appearance in issue 11 in the comic story Wild Wildlife, published in 1989. He clashes with, there he is in the group of the Dreadnoks there. You've got Monkey Wrench, Thresher, and Zanzibar and Buzzer joining him. It was an interesting collection of Dreadnoks they used for this issue, wasn't it? All kind of like new out at the time. There's vehicles involved. There's a couple of figures out. Makes sense. And basically, they end up clashing with Outback and Psych Out in Australia. Now, Psych Out is doing a, what do you call it, like a psychiatric evaluation on Outback in the issue because he thinks he's got this reputation for being absolutely psycho, and basically they're out in the Outback in Australia. I mean, that's a bit on the nose, isn't it? But that's where they are, and they kind of like end up clashing with the Dreadnoks, who are kind of like doing the usual thing of terrorizing, people in a little place in Australia, and then this moment is really funny, and it's something that I'd love to see Road Pig come with, and that is like a metal bar, like bent that way, like round the shape of his head, almost like obviously he's not gonna come with that, but he has in the past come with the street sign, and yeah, and I think and that he's used as a shield. So I could see them doing some kind of fun things with the classified figure, and but we'll talk about that later. Now, he also, in this, drives a gnarly looking truck called the Razorback, which I know for a fact the reason why it never came out, because for one thing, it is just bonkers Mad Max to the next nth degree. It's like your classic kind of zombie apocalypse truck. And of course, Razorback is a name already utilized in in the GI Joe brand. So I did find that quite fun. But they used to do this all the time in the UK comics, and I love the thought of Road Pig having his own vehicle like this. And you could have fun with this. Like this is something you could really go to town on as a toy. Kind of 4-inch would probably make more sense because the size of the bloody thing, it'd be like a Dreadnok troop carrier, and it would be it'd have to be kind of HasLab probably at that size. But yeah, let's get the 3D printing crew on this one, because I think you could do some absolute damage with this bad boy. Yeah, love all the spikes on it. Love all the kind of impracticality of it. It's just a lot of fun. So yeah, go check that out. Issue now, obviously, this is Action Force Monthly, which was reprinted in your money as European missions. So shouldn't be too difficult to track down that issue. If you do ever want to collect the Action Force comics or the monthly specifically, because you can get that as European missions. Anyway, I've got a bit of sushi stuck in my teeth. Anyway, drives gnarly looking truck. There you go. Now, version 2 we're moving on to, and this is where it gets colourful. The second version of Ropig turned up in the Supersonic Fighter subteam in 1991. He clearly hit the tanning salon and came packaged with a huge green electronic backpack with lights and 4 battle sounds, crazy deco, and bright orange accessories. Now, I think this is brilliant. I love the card art. I love the fact that you can see more of the actual figure because they kind of minimize the size of the character on the card art. Something that when we see the UK version, they kind of maximize it again to fill the space. But you've got the different type of card background, which is something I really want to see them go into more detail with on the classified retro. I want to see I want to see those fingers. I want to see all these different types of cards. I want to see all the different, like Ninja Force and Sonic Fighters and Tiger Force and Python Patrol and Battle Force 2000 and Iron Grenadiers, which I think was the same. Um, yeah, just I want to see that. I want to see those figures getting different card backs based on what their original card backs were like. I think that would be a really cool thing to do. We don't need the same if we have different packaging every week, like different packaging every week on the regular classified line, does it matter if we change up the retro card every now and again, but actually to a degree where it's not similar but not the same? Just, I mean, you look at the retro line at the moment, and there's 3 different styles, I want to say. There's your kind of initial style, which isn't that great, that had like about 8 figures. Then there's the HasLab Cobra Commander, which is the only one that I can think of that has the white border. And then you have the new ones, which are the thicker card, but again, very similar-ish, but not the same as the first wave of retro. So, like, you'll change those things, but you won't go crazy pants on getting characters that had different sub-team sort of situations and sticking them in there. And obviously Tiger Force and Python Patrol is difficult because they're Target and Walmart. Tiger Force, no, Target exclusives. But something like and Night Force for Walmart, but something like Mad Marauders doesn't seem to be, but we get them on the kind of quite, I'm gonna say it, quite bland packaging now. And I know everyone's happy now there's windows and everything, but like I like the art. I like the art, I like the different art, and I like the render kind of stuff, but I know that I'm in the minority on that one, and that's fine. But anyway, yeah, comes with that bright green huge backpack. He comes with loads of orange accessories, including a couple of rifles, the pads, and I can't remember what else he came with. Oh, it's the flamethrower, the rifle, the pads, the backpack, and a figure stand. That was it. Didn't Lenny and Emily say they were committed to producing retro packaging that makes sense, i.e., fitting cards to eras? Yes, they did, Scott, but we haven't seen a figure done yet, have we, that would fit that era, a different era. It's all been everything that you would get on, on a well, that's the other thing as well. They could have at least done digital explosions occasionally, because there are some characters that they've done on retro card that would have had digital explosions, lead explosions. Anyway, what's his voice sound like, Diecast Nick? What, Road Pigs? It's quite. I don't. Yeah, I can't even picture it, and I watched an episode of him in it recently, and I can't even think about who even voices him, which is a fail on my part. Um, yeah, what does he sound like? That's a good point. Um, anyway, sorry, I'm sidetracked very easily on these episodes, aren't I? So there you go. Effectively, this is the G2, isn't it, of GI Joe with Transformers and the supersonic fighters. Um, oh, I forgot that Road Pig also appeared in the Renegades. I didn't add that, so my bad. Road Pig is in the Renegades, but we'll get to that point, and I'll just pretend no one cares that I'd missed it out. Amazing. I always manage to do stupid things like that. Um, why can't I find simple information? I don't know. Anyway, on to the next thing. So, sorry, yeah, you didn't hear me. Carry on. There he is with his machine gun and everything. There he is with his flamethrower, and of course, I say his. They're utilized, aren't they? And painted orange. So anyway, brilliant. I love this figure for it's just outright, and the tan as well. Come on, give a guy a tan, and brilliant. Road pit. Oh, he didn't have. Did he not talk? Oh yeah, I see what you mean. The backpack is sound effects. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not like. Yeah, it's not like a talking battle commanders one. Sorry, it's a good job you mentioned that though, or at least put that in my head because I wouldn't have thought. Oh yeah, I should have checked that he was in like you know the Renegades cartoon, for example. I don't get it all right all the time, but at least I can correctly say that yes, he did appear in the Renegades cartoon. Um, and it was Kevin Michael Richardson who voiced him. Now he actually, sorry, I'm talking about the Renegades, not Deke cartoon, even though I've got Deke cartoon on the screen right now. So yeah, Kevin Michael Richardson voiced Road Pig in Renegades, and again, he's just the kind of big burly dude with the kind of handlebar moustache. He kind of looks like an old timey strongman, and he's got his cinder block stick as well. He still has that in the episode. Yeah. So anyway, coming back to the Deke cartoon. He did feature fairly often in the Deke animation for the first appearance in Series 2, Episode 2, Chunnel, where he helped to kidnap the Queen, which obviously, of course, I've seen that one. Of course, I have. Yeah, and there he is. There's a screenshot of him with no shoulder pads. Probably just from an ease from a animation standpoint, they probably left that off, or they were probably sent reference information and they didn't get the accessories, or they didn't have the accessories on him when the figure was sent for reference or whatever. Any one of those things possibly could have happened. Hmm. Cheers. So we end up with like a almost like a naked road pig, don't we? It's quite funny. There he is. Anyway, yeah, he's not tan enough in the cartoon. Definitely not tan enough. Anyway, we did get the V2 in the UK and Europe as well. Here is a Italian card, I think. And on that one, you'll notice just in the creeping over the top right of the green backpack is a different electronic supersonic fighters logo. And once again, I have to say, I quite like what they've, even though you can't see it clearly, I quite like what they've done in zhuzhing it up a little bit, because again, the one that the US has is just like, yeah, like a pink kind of, not splat, but like a sharp explosion with the text electronic supersonic fighters inside. It's not, I don't know, it's simple and effective. But like the UK one went with something very different: blue, yellow, and white, and lots of all sorts of different things going on. So yeah, interesting indeed. And as you can see, the artwork again has been blown up a little bit more, so it fills more of that space. And the rings, the acoustic or the sonic rings in the background are slightly different. If you look at that one there, they're quite kind of a bit more, they're a bit tighter together actually than the US one. And if you look at the US one, yeah, they're spread apart a bit more. So there is definitely a difference on the cards in the way that they are presented, which I thought was interesting. Same figure and accessories though that came with our version. And look at him there. Looks ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Now we move into the unreleased portion. Incredibly, Road Pig was chosen for the Ninja Commandos subline. Let that one sink in if you weren't already aware. I mean, it's quite a. This is one of those. I would say this is one of the most common or the most well-known cancelled or unreleased things that happened in the vintage GI Joe era. This has to be up there with any of those ones that we know of now that were cancelled or what have you. There'll be other ones I'm sure you'll better give me in the comments. You might have some more examples that might be of a similar level of kind of like, well known within the community, and may even stretch a little bit more to like a bit more commercially known. But yes, in 1994-95 they were developing the Ninja Commandos, but unfortunately the line was cancelled because the entire line with GI Joe came to a close in 1994. It featured, or would have featured, and sort of kind of did, because these have been like there are a lot of these out there. I think there was a rumor for a while where a lot of people thought a huge, like a production run had been done on these, and then Hasbro had just kept it all and hadn't sold it, or they were supposed to trash it, and it got somehow got into someone else's possession, right? And then like a few sets snuck out, but they kept sneaking out, and there's quite a few of them out there now, the full sets of these figures. And you occasionally see them on like eBay and stuff like that, and they go for ridiculous money. But effectively, as far as we're concerned, these are unreleased, right? And they would have consisted of Budo, Storm Shadow, all checks out so far. Everything makes sense so far. Flint and a new character, Knockout, completed the unorthodox lineup. Yes. And as you can see in the figures on the right-hand side, you've got Budo, who eventually, like basically that entire figure bar the head became the movie Mortal Kombat Shang Tsung. So it did kind of make it out in that kind of red color. So it's a wicked figure as well. Budo is probably one of my favorites in that lineup. Road Pig, obviously, looking absolutely dapper. We'll get another shot of him in a second as well. And there's artwork for Road Pig that we have as well from that was never utilized. But you can see on that card as well, even the cards were mocked up, or almost fully done, with the Storm Shadow's art on there as well. There's Storm Shadow in the middle as well, then that in the white with the kind of like half a gimp mask. And then you have Knockout, who's wearing a full-on gimp mask, and a kind of like sexy chrome get-up with straps. It's a very interesting vibe, Knockout. But I really like him, and I really want to see Super 7 approach this set. I want to see these come out in the O-ring line with Super 7, because I think that would be an absolute win. And of course, Flint, who is kind of more, that yes, they've done like a, like an all-covering sort of ninja vibe, but he's definitely got more kind of like, your practical commando ninja vibe going on. But Flint still, come on, what's going on? That's ridiculous. Interesting choices. Like I said, Budo, Storm Shadow, and to a degree, Knockout makes sense. Road Pig and Flint, what were you smoking? Because we all need some of that by the sound of it. It is closer to a Nightclub Force figure, Carl. I like that you're keeping that alive. Thank you very much. I'm gonna have to do something Nightclub Force, like a logo, or maybe like a T-shirt. Maybe would any of you be interested in merch? I've never really. I mean, I have thought about it, but I don't think if anyone like would care. But we can do some fun merch things, I think, T-shirts wise. Anyway, I'm thinking Nightclub Force, logo, maybe with some like Chuckles inspired flowers on the t-shirt. Would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? Oh, a Nightclub Force patch would be dope, wouldn't it, Scott? Yeah, okay. We'll try and do a patch. Maybe even like a trucker hat. I was about to point to this. This is not a trucker hat. Maybe like some sort of trucker hats as well with like the Nightclub Force logo on it. Be kind of fun, wouldn't it? And I wouldn't obviously rip the IP. I would do something new and fancy and get Brian to do it. And yeah, we've got some fun things. We've got some silly gimmicks. We've got some Stay Fresh cheese bags we can utilize. Soran says no merch, please. We don't need no more landfill items. That's harsh. It wouldn't be anything of, we're not going to be filling the landscape with crap you wouldn't want. I would consider it if awesome enough. Okay, cool. We'll work on it then. Right then. So that is your unreleased set, but then of course here's Road Pig. A little close up. He's been working out, but like he's been cutting. He's been effectively like losing a bit of the kind of chub to get into a more lean sort of vibe, and then he gets that kind of like padded samurai trousers, which is quite cool. I love the fact he's got just topless on the top, no like shoulder pads or any kind of nothing. Just that's it. Amazing stuff. And then we have this artwork as well, which is really cool. And it really does paint a pretty cool picture of this figure, doesn't it? Who's Phil England the landscape? Amazing, Jamie Lynn. When will that merch end up at Ross Con? Oh god, yeah, immediately. Anyway, yeah, so there's your Ninja Commandos Road Pig, unreleased, but loads of people have them. Then in 1996, Fun School released Road Pig on their classic. Well, effectively, this is just the same art, slightly simplified US Dreadnok's logo, and the Fun School logo, and of course the figure effectively the same mold, same accessories, but less in terms of quality where it comes to plastic, and of course missing the Anarchy tattoo as well, which is interesting. Right, so that's India and Road Pig in Fun School. Then we get Road Pig version 3 in 2004. Road Pig got its third version released with the Dreadnok Rampage convention set. Used the version 1 mold except for the waist piece from Big Boa. Got a new chest tattoo as well. Came with all of his vintage weapons and accessories. So his shoulder pads, the shield, the crossbow, the cinder block, etc., etc. Yeah, he's ripped, and he's huge. And yeah, I like the addition of the extra tattoo. I think it's kind of cool to add to the character. And I do hope that it continues, because it does continue into the modern era. I hope it continues into the classified series as well. I can't remember when. Well, so Renegades was 2010, so I've still got some time. Right, so yeah, so that's Road Pig version 3 in 2004. And that has got to be, I have to say, one of the worst box sets of all time, with all the different like Billy Bobs and Cletuses and all that. Yeah, that was not a good look. Anyway, we did get Tiger Force like friggin' Mutt and Junkyard, and Tiger Force Hardtop. So random, that set, isn't it? So random. Anyway, there he is. Yeah, and the different hair color is actually quite interesting here. It's kind of like a bit grayer with a black stripe or a dark gray stripe. And I like the kind of pants camouflage too. Definitely a possibility in the future of some sort of, repaint, I think, for this one. But we'll get to that in a second. How dare I disrespect Billy Bob? They were terrible, Scott. Like, if there'd been one figure that looked like that, rather than keep reusing and changing the color, it was, oh god, it's giving me a headache thinking about it. Anyway, I'm going to disrespect Billy Bob. Version 4, the first modern era 4-inch Road Pig, came in the 30th anniversary Dreadnok's battle set in 2011. I had 2 of these sets and gave one to my buddy's kid, who they came round one day randomly out of nowhere, and I was filming a review. This was a long time ago, on like my Diagnostic 80s review. No, it was for In Demand Toys. So I was filming a review of this Dreadnok battle set and just taking pictures and doing like the occasional little like pan shot with my phone at the time, I think. And as like they were all out on the table, and my buddy came around with his kid, and we were just chatting away, and his kid like was really enjoying them. He thought they were really cool. So I said, when they were leaving, I said, grab the other set that was like complete and hadn't been opened, and said, there you go nuts. And he bloody loved it. So it was nice to get. He's probably not gonna care about GI Joe when he gets older, like I did. He's probably not going to be that kid who makes a podcast about it, and then a YouTube channel, and then just starts stalking the Hasbro employees and trying to get information wherever he can. He's probably not going to go to that level, right? But he did enjoy it. So at least he had a nice experience with GI Joe when he was a kid, eh? And so anyway, this set I really enjoyed when it first came out. There's lots of cool stuff about it. Interesting things about it though. Some sort of like, I get that there was a lot of kind of like kit bashing going on to try and make the most out of some of the characters, but I felt like Zanzibar fell a little bit short. The fact that we got Thrasher in this, but we didn't get the Thunder Machine, obviously, that's that point, seemed a little bit like, we got Nor instead of Norgahide. A lot of name changes. I like the addition of Burnout, though. I thought that was a really cool addition to the toys, and I really was into it. And then, of course, kind of that head sculpt showing up again in the kind of those kind of dinosaur clash, sets where you got like a GI Joe figure and a Jurassic Park dinosaur. They were really cool. I loved those. I was so into those sets. But anyway, this is not about that. And then, of course, we got the Alligator Alley road sign, which you can't. I should have shown a picture of that. I don't know why I didn't, but you can see it. He's holding it, but it says Alligator Alley on it, which is really cool. And I think something like that would be great for them to redo in the classified series. I definitely like the fact they continued with the tattoo. Now, the one that was used on the version 3 was actually the classic one that I think you see on the Moray, that they've utilized since for t-shirts with the Hiss tank, that has been, I think, maybe even shows up on the Hiss tank somewhere, but the classified one. So that's what that is. This one, they made it up. It's not as dynamic, I would say, as the as that kind of like one that's on the Moray. It kind of looks a little bit weird, because like if you look like far away, it gets worse the further away you go with this tattoo, because it just looks like a very poor, like like shape, scrawny shape, and it's not like tight. Like the Moray one is like quite it's just designed a bit aesthetically better. And in any case, I hope they do the tattoo do the tattoo on his chest, on his boob, because that would have like rhymed. But then go with like the one that we know and love on the original, on the V3 version, because I think that's really, really sexy, that tattoo. This one looks it's a bit weak. So I hope they do, if they do incorporate that tattoo, they kind of go classified with it. You know what I'm saying? He got his cinder block hammer, of course. He got his shoulder pads, the Alligator Alley street sign, shield, and a sword this time in place of a crossbow, which is interesting. Again, like, I'd give him a crossbow. I'm sure there were crossbows in the line at that point. It doesn't matter if it doesn't go on his wrist, but he needs a crossbow. That's his thing, isn't it? Sword seems a little bit random, but I think the sword was an incorporation based on the unreleased Ninja Commandos one artwork that had the sword, and the sword that came with the figure technically as well. So if you ever do manage to get hold of a road pig, he does usually come with a weapon sprue, doesn't he, as well? And the sword is on there. Anyway, that's modern 4-inch version 4 road pig. Version 5 I can talk, yeah, because that's 2011. So Road Pig does show up in the Renegades cartoon, and I've already said it, but he was voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, who also did Roadblock, of course, and a computer voice, and a mechanic, and Cobra Security Trooper, and a commentator, and a guy called Franz, Guard One. He's done a lot of voices. So anyway, yeah, he did. Kevin Michael Richardson did the Road Pig voice in Renegades. Don't have an image for it, my bad, but I've told you the information, and that's all you need to know. Dreadnok's Rising, by the way, and it was in 2010, so it would have come before this. Anyway, there you go. And then you've got Road Pig version 5. The G.I. Joe Collectors Club released a Supersonic Fighters version of the version 4 figure, with some changes, by the way, for their final 12 figures in 2019. Used the Destro V26 legs, which were also the Iron Grenadiers version 8 shin legs, and the Iron Grenadier version 8 shin pads that they had, those heavy gunners. And I think works an absolute treat, honestly, especially in bright blooming green. Amazing stuff. The cinder block hammer and shoulder pads were included, and the classic wrist crossbow returned. Excuse me. And you also got a couple of rifles as well, as you can see, and the figure stand. But have you noticed? I didn't say it before, but the head kind of went away from the cutesy, chutchy, kind of chubby face, and way more leaner, meaner, and I can't think of anything else that rhymes with that. But yeah, that's what we end. This is what we got. We got this Sonic Fight Supersonic one in 2019. I have a real soft spot for this final 12 because I remember, like, at the end of the convention in, was it Chattanooga, when they revealed it? I think it was the last one, basically the emotional one that we all got sad about. I remember sitting literally at the front, right next to the screen where they were going to be revealing the final 12, and you got your Tiger Force, kind of European Tiger Force stuff, which was just amazing. You got Sonic Fighters repaints, Falcon included. You've got like Action Man sort of GI Joe 60s Action Man vibe kind of characters. Was it like the what spider was it? It wasn't Black Widow spider, was it? Something spider. The helicopter backpack one, the mission. And of course, oh god, what was his name? The Irish fella. Some Coils O'Doom. That was it. So there was a lot of like, and then of course as well around that same time when like they were being revealed, and I was very excited for European Tiger Force. There may be pictures going around on the internet where I kind of freaked out a little bit and ran around the entire place, very excited. Yeah. So yeah, Matt says, got my volume 14 and 15 of Dan's books. I don't have those yet. There's an unproduced Road Pig Ninja Commando. Looks cool. Designed in '93 by Dave Desforges. Yeah, was that the one we were looking at before, Matt? Was that was it this, or was it a different one that was designed? Because that I'm really interested in seeing that, if it's different to this one that we were talking about before. But yeah, very cool. I wasn't aware of that, if there's a different one, because that's really good information to have. I'll have to do some sort of addendum for that one. But anyway, yeah, there's your Road Pig version 5. And around the same time, they released the Ninja Force Zartan and the motorcycle, which was like a figure vehicle set that you could order like right at the end, including like the 3-pack of the Night Stalker female Cobra Troopers in the black uniforms, and there were Marauders. There was Slaughter's Marauders editions, because obviously we'd had modern era Barbecue and Lowlight, but they were done in very different kind of schemes to match that new vibe of the 7-packs, and they redid those particular figures in the more basic Marauders scheme, so you could add them to the other Marauders figures that we already had. Like that looks like card art for it, yeah. And there were more designs. Cool. I can't wait to read those books. Yeah, that's amazing, and I'll definitely looking forward to seeing what other designs run on there too. Anyway, can't include it now, but maybe I can include that later. Maybe I'll reach out to Dan and see if he can hook me up with some images for that, and then I'll stick an addendum out there maybe. Anyway, that is Road Pig version 5. Now let's talk classified Road Pig. It's only been an hour and 10 minutes, right? That you've been waiting for me to talk. Let's talk classified Road Pig. Now, what do we know about classified Road Pig that we haven't been talking about constantly for the past however many months? We know that Road Pig's listing is highway pet. We know that listing is a figure and pet. We know what the pet is, but we can't say. But it's a. I would say all I will say about Road Pig's animal companion is it's one that you kind of would expect. It's not like something out of left field. It's something that you might associate, but and that's all I will say on that one. It's not a road pig, but it's definitely something that is not. It's not crazy. It's not ridiculous. It's something you would probably expect. Now, yes, it's an emu, Ryan. 100%. Classified road pig and emu confirmed. Anyway, so we can't say, but you can keep speculating. And even if you do say it in the comments, like obviously I can't read it out or say anything, but road pig we know comes with a pet. So bar that, we will talk about or I will talk about what I think the figure might look like, possible repaint opportunities, and also maybe what the figure and pet set might come with in terms of accessories and what have you. So and again, I don't know also what accessories he comes with. I do know that the figure and pet, and I do know what the pet is. I just don't know details like what it looks like, what he looks like, what the accessories are. I don't know. So I am going to be speculating and playing very dumb because I am dumb in this particular instance. Now, your classic road pig is expected. I don't think they're going to go. I don't think they're going to go supersonic fighters out of the gate. I do think supersonic fighters might be on the cards at some point, but I don't think they're going to start with neon green and navy blue and tan and orange. I don't think we're going to go there yet, but I do think we're going to get this particular design. Now, I think they're probably going to do the Anarchy tattoo. I'll strip him down to his just bare figure right now in my mind. I think we're going to see the Anarchy tattoo because I think that why would you use it on Norgahide and then not use it on the figure that it's actually associated with? That seems weird to me. So I think that we're going to see Road Pig's Anarchy tattoo. I also think we're going to see more tattoos on this figure, and maybe they'll do something more elaborate. Maybe that's why they gave Norgahide the Anarchy tattoo, because they went with something more elaborate for Road Pig. That is a possibility. Like they might have given him like a whole sleeve and then something that goes over his chest, something like, because I could see that being really cool, like some sort of like upper sleeve going over the chest sort of kind of tattoo situation, and I think that would be really dope. So I think that's probably expected. The other way they could go, and again, I would expect them to do something more elaborate, but I definitely could see them also just doing an Anarchy tattoo on the arm and doing that Moray kind of snake tattoo on his chest, and jobs are good and move on. Now I don't know what they're going to do in regards to the hair. I imagine it will be a white crew what are they called? Crew cut with when in terms of that stripe. You know what they'd like with classified? There's a possibility they might do something like make the hair grey and the stripe might be like a little off red, or like almost like a pinky color, because like on a faded red almost. They might do something like that, or they might just go all out and it might just be like a big red strip around his head. It's possible. He's gonna be. We also do know that he's on a different like base figure, like it's unique pieces. So I don't think there's another. I don't think there's another figure that I think this is basically going to be an all unique build for Road Pig. I think he's going to get like a lot of new pieces here, including obviously the torso, the arms, and the upper body. He's going to be a chunky brick of a human, I think. Um, Obviously, I think the shoulder pads you can't. There's no way you could not have those, and they'll probably do something. I think they're going to do something with the straps under the arm too, to kind of like give it a bit more kind of structure. Maybe keep it in place a little bit. You know how they do secondaries, sort of like the modern one, actually, the modern 4-inch one, where you've kind of got a much more elaborate, detailed kind of like shoulder pad kind of situation going on. So I think they'll do something like that, and they'll have maybe some straps going under the arms to kind of like keep it all tight, like a secondary piece. Um, Obviously, he's going to come with his cinder block. Now, I love the fact that the cinder block can clip into the back of the modern 4-inch figure, and I think that's something that we could see taken forward to classified. I think clipping that big weapon on his back, and he's got to come with the cinder block, hasn't he? They've joked about it, they've talked about it, he's talked about it on live events about how gnarly this figure is and how crazy that weapon is. So if that isn't included, I don't know what's going on. So I think that's obviously going to have to happen. Will they make it one kind of molded piece, or will they do something fun with it where you can maybe take the actual cinder block part off, so you can have like a cinder block dio piece? I don't know. Just something that's running through my brain as we're kind of going through this. I don't think they'll give him a sword, although the fact that he sort of has a sword in 2 iterations, and that iteration being the Ninja Commandos, which never really saw the light of day, and but kind of did but didn't, and this modern 4-inch version, I think is it enough times to be part of his weapon loadout? Could be. I never really saw Road Pig with a sword, but again, it's really just down to that Ninja Commandos figure, isn't it? I call him Road Piglet all the time, Zoran. I just haven't done it on the show yet. But whenever I'm talking about Road Piglet, whenever I'm talking about Road Pig, I often refer to him as Road Piglet to other people because it's adorable. Yeah, so Alligator Alley sign, definitely think that's a possibility. That just as a shield, without you don't have to do the kind of the washboard shield, which it's all right. It's a little bit it's a bit mundane, but it's interesting because obviously, yeah, you can kind of pummel people with the spiky end of it, and you can also use it as a kind of shield as well. A very small shield. The Alligator Alley one is a little bigger and a little more surface area is covered, but yeah, I think it's a nice update to the shield aspect for Road Pig. He almost looks like a gladiator with the sword and the shield, doesn't he? But yeah, I would personally probably just go with the wrist crossbow. I'd go with an alligator, the Alligator Alley sign, and I would definitely give him the shoulder pads and the cinder block. And I definitely would love it to clip to the back with like a little loop on the back of his pads would be great. Yeah, obviously the cod piece has got to be there with the studs on it, leather cod piece with the silver studs, and give him shiny chrome boots. Can you vac metal those? That'd be great. Anyway, that is what I'm expecting in terms of the figure, the build. Well, we know it's going to be a fairly unique build, and in terms of the accessories, other than that, I pretty much think that's it. Like I said, the cinder block, the crossbow, and the shield are sort of like synonymous with him. Throw the sword in if you want. It does feel weird, but it's part of him now. It's part of his history. And yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. Any other things you guys can think of that would be kind of cool to include with him? I can't think of much. Obviously, there's an animal companion here, so there's going to be stuff that is going to have to happen there too. I don't know if there's going to be I don't know if the figure is, as in he's going to have multiple hands or anything. Odds are he won't be coming with a backpack, Zoran. If they don't have backpacks, they don't give them backpacks. And if they do have backpacks, currently they ain't giving them backpacks. So I think the complaint about backpacks wasn't that we have backpacks. It was they don't stay on a lot of the time. There's not enough, like peg length, Kitty said, on the backpacks for them to stay on, and they're often too loose and pop off. That was the complaint. The complaint wasn't that we don't want backpacks; it's that we want backpacks that are fit for purpose in that sense. I really want it to be a kitten. Oh, that would be sweet, Nictimus. Two different heads, one for Donald and one for Road Pig. That's a great shout, Ryan. A great shout. Jeff says, would they repeat that tattoo since they used it on Norgahide? Yeah, Jeff, I just kind of went through my whole thought process on that a number of times in the episode. One, I think the only reason they may have given it to Norgahide and not Road Pig was because they're doing something way more elaborate with Road Pig, and the Anarchy tattoo doesn't really go with what they're doing. And so they were like, hey, I still like the Anarchy tattoo, let's give it to Norgahide, is probably what happened. But it could just be that they're using it twice, who knows, and kind of tying the group in a little bit with some of the later Dreadnoks. So what, we've had Norgahide, Road Pig coming, can't think of any others that are on the horizon, but of course, Monkey Wrench can't be far behind. Zanzibar, maybe. Burnout is a possibility. Thrasher with the Thunder Machine. Maybe they start getting like a uniformed tattoo for the ones that aren't necessarily that kind of Three Stooges group. No, it's totally fine, Jeff. I actually added to what I said before there, and I think that was worth me going over it again. Gotta hate shallow back holes. What did you call me, Blitz? You shallow back hole. Yeah, I'm not a fan of shallow back holes, especially when you're putting backpacks into them. Yeah. Right. Next HasLab is Hasbro figuring out how to do a proper classified backpack. Could you imagine? $500. What? Anyway, that's Road Pig regular version. Repaint possibilities, and I know this is probably just me and Jeremy Kimball in the chat, because I know, Jeremy, you're in there, and I know you love the Sonic Fighters, but I would love to see them do Sonic Fighters repaints of, not a repaint of Rock and Roll. We've got to do a bit of a retool. Excuse me, with Rock and Roll, because it's a version 2 Rock and Roll in that one, isn't it? But and also Major Blood. Yeah, there's a repaint I could, or not repaint, but a figure I would like them to do in the Sonic Fighters style. But then, Dial Tone, yeah, Falcon, the Viper. There's a bunch that they could pretty much churn out, and yeah, I would be really, really excited and happy. Anyway, yeah, there's not really much else to say on this one. I don't think they'd give him a giant backpack. Maybe this is the only backpack Road Pig's ever needed, and that's why it only happened the once, and we just don't see it ever again. Actually, Road Pig having a hedgehog pet would be great nod to the Sonic Fighter. Lol. I like that. That's a good idea. But the fact that I read it out loud, you can probably ascertain from that he ain't coming with a hedgehog. I would like to see Hasbro do more blast effects. I'd like to see them do more different blast effects, because we're starting to see the same blast effects coming again and again, aren't we? And I know they've got to kind of get the most out of their tooling, but we've already had it with the scrap iron explosions and stuff, and that's happening again with the Stinger, plus the long kind of missile exhausty kind of stuff as well. Anyway, whatever. It is a simple backpack hack, isn't it? Don't give the figures backpacks. Yeah, it would be fun to have sound effects on a backpack, but I don't think they would do that. Either way, I'd love to see a repaint of what they do originally in the Sonic Fighters style. And that does open the possibility, that does open the door of these two getting some sort of addition. Because, I mean, it's the same Chuchi head sculpt, at least. And I like that the stripe, I didn't say this before, but I like that the stripe goes in a different direction on Ninja Commandos Road Pig. Instead of going around the back or around the sides, it's straight down the middle. I love that. Kind of makes it look like he's got two kind of bits of hair sticking up on the side. It's kind of got like a split kid and play vibe going on, or kid vibe going on. Yeah. Obviously, the one on the left, the Ninja Commandos one, would need a retool in the legs department, but and I don't foresee them going in that direction necessarily. But I could see them, if they wanted to get the most out of the tool, kind of dipping into this more kind of subdued deco version for something. I don't know. Maybe you could say I'd actually like them to do this on a retro card. I think they need to start doing that kind of stuff, and they need to start doing it on retro cards, because I need a different retro card design, please and thank you. I just do. Um, I like that idea that Ryan said earlier, where he said two different head sculpts. I think is a good shout as well. One, like, to kind of highlight the split personality, the kind of more like, yeah, like kind of uglier sort of like aggressive kind of look, and then like maybe a more kind of reserved, contemplative, you know, raised eyebrow sort of look on the other one. Um, Chris, I'm just glad you used the same dates reference that a lot of us probably do. Kid and play, smiley face. Yes. Thank you, Jedi Ben. I grew up on house party movies, so yeah, yeah, and absolutely, like, there was a cartoon, wasn't there? Kid and Play cartoon, and I used to like. There were so many fun things that I used in that period of time, like kind of late 80s, early 90s. I remember on TV I would watch um, Pro Stars, which was the cartoon with um, uh, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, and Bo Jackson, as kind of like superheroes, even though they were just sports stars. It was interesting and really fun. I loved it. And then, of course, you had the MC Hammer cartoon, which I absolutely adored, and his little talking shoes, freaking amazing. And yeah, the Kid and Play. I like that was those three, those little batch of cartoons. I remember would be on in like a period like in the summer, and I remember getting up early, watching those cartoons, and then just getting absolute buzz, getting on my bike, riding to the park, Gold Park, shooting some hoops on a very crap small basketball hoop. It wasn't even a basketball hoop; it was just terrible. And it was so bad that we ended up building a basketball net in my backyard. My mum and dad did that, and a couple of neighbours helped out. I didn't lift a finger when they built that patio, and such a spoiled brat. Yeah, but I was very appreciative of it, and the basketball hoop was amazing. It was a carbon graphite one from Toys R Us. It was like a curved, the curved like top came down, and it had like cut in at the bottom, and then it was on like this cut. It was like a grey backboard, like, but like almost like marble effect, kind of like your dark grey carbon graphite kind of phase that everyone was going through. Had a black strip just inside, like a frame, and it had a spring mounted, like heavy duty full size basketball ring on it, and it attached to a cemented in the ground metal tube pole that then had the arm locked in and screwed on, and you could adjust it, so you could dunk on it, or you could just actually shoot proper regulation height shots. But anyway, that was fun. That was a lot of fun in my backyard for many years. And yeah, and shout out to my mate Jamie Adams, who we went to Toys R Us to pick that up. And you know what big basketball hoops are like? They were like flat packed IKEA style, but they were the size of the backboard. And they was in the car, mom and dad in the front, and me and Jamie underneath, literally like sitting underneath it, with like over crushing us basically all the way home. And I also picked up Half Court, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figure on card that day as well from that Toys R Us, and it was a hell of a drive, because it was not near us, so it wasn't something. It was a birthday present as well, I believe, and it wasn't something that we normally did. But Jamie came along because obviously he was a mate, and it was like, yeah, we're going to Toys R Us. You want to come? And he's like, yeah, I'd love to. So no, it was great. So shout out to Jamie. And also, how much fun was it stuck in the back of that car with a very heavy basketball set in on our heads. Anyway, yes, that is all the information you're ever going to likely to need in my old backyard. So this is an option. This is also an option, but again, I don't necessarily see either of these happening anytime soon. Yeah, and that is pretty much it for Let's Talk Classified Road Pig. I didn't think I'd get an hour and a half out of that, but I have. And I think most of it was tangents that nobody cared for. So my apologies on that one. But that's what you get, unfortunately, when you join a full force stream. Apologies also for not putting in the Renegades graphic. I did know that Road Pig appeared in it. Completely forgot during the making of this video. In any case, I said it out loud, and that's all that matters. And I'm definitely gonna have to check out Dan K's new books, which embarrassingly I have to say I don't have yet. But that is a yet, and I will rectify that. And massive shout out to Dan, of course, for obviously at the beginning I did show an image from one of his books as well, talking about the development of Road Pig. So thank you again, Dan, for that. Thank you to Carson of 3D Joes for letting me steal most of the other images. And yeah, and I will. That's it, pretty much. Toys are touchstones to our memories. Yes, they are past. They really are. Who's next? Footloose. So I'll be doing Let's Talk Classified Footloose next, which again, I'll say in my head, it'll be an easy one. And then I'll realize that it's not. And there's loads of history and there's loads of things to cover. And I'll forget some things. There you go. Road Pig with a full-grown boa constrictor, snake theme, and fits the stereotype. I've just read it out, Barking Fridge. So again, you can probably work out that it ain't that. But that would be cool, wouldn't it? Scott says, full force. Come for the history, stay for the tangents, and only the tangents, as the history gets balled up and thrown out of a window. Barking Fridge says, I have all Dan's books, and I think I've read up to volume 10. I tend to do this with Dan's books. I skim through it, and then I go and reference them. So if there's a bit of information, I will go and find. So it takes me technically ages to go through the books, but I am referencing them so often that they're right next to me. And I think at this stage, I've gone through all of them now. All of the ones I have. I only have actually up to 7. So Dan, I've got some catching up to do. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, or like another 8. I have less books than he's made. That's amazing. That's amazing. Anyway, I will 100% be getting the rest of those books. In fact, I might just reach out to him tonight and go, dude, can I just send them to me? I'll PayPal you. But yeah, we are just glad your teeth are okay, Chris. Well, thank you, FC Viper. They are fine, actually. Like I said, I had 3 fillings today, 2 because I grind my teeth, and 1 because of a wisdom tooth error that happened when I was younger that has grown into an issue that was been dealt with. So everything's cool. It wasn't like, I do take care of my teeth. I do brush my teeth very often and keep very clean and take care of them. But, these things happen when you get in your hundreds or however old I am now. With Road Pig, there's definitely a tangent. Yeah, a tangent. I love that, Carl. That is a great pun for Sonic Fighters Road Pig. I love it. You're running away now, but that is the level of jokes we have on this show. So yes, next up will be Let's Talk Classified Footloose. I don't know when I'll get to that, but I will try and squeeze him out. And you never know, we might have some more name-only revealed. Stop saying revealed. In the month of Yojo June. So enjoy this Friday evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy whatever you can. I will see you on the weekly tomorrow. Now, I'll be going early tomorrow. I'm sorry. I will be going early tomorrow, starting at 8 a.m. Eastern. I'm sorry, guys. I have to. I can't do it any later than that. We've got too much of a day tomorrow. So I'll be doing the weekly at 8 a.m. And we'll be getting that done and dusted, covered in mustard, so that I can get on with the rest of the day, because there's a lot to do tomorrow. Pat won't be joining me because Pat is packing. He's doing stuff in advance of Joe Fest for some of his retailer friends. So, like I said, it'll just be me, and I will see you tomorrow. Well, I'll see you in a couple of hours, effectively. And I've still got work to do on that, so play that tiny violin for me. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your evening, people. Hope you've enjoyed Road Pig. I will see you on the next one. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And don't forget, after 3, it's on the screen right now. 1, 2, 3. Full force. Laters. That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, Full Force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, at The Full Force, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, at The Full Force Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.